All right, today I'm glad to welcome on the channel Gerry Hundt. How you doing, Gerry?
I'm doing well, Eric. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you, man. Great to have you. How you been doing? What you been up to lately?
Been good. Just been playing a lot of shows and just easing down from the summer and looking forward to the fall and winter.
Cool. And I know you got some exciting stuff coming up. You're headed to Europe pretty soon.
Yep, I'll be headed to Europe in October once again, do some gigs and some recording.
Nice. Who are you going to be recording with?
Tom Reinert and Renaud Lessire, both Luxembourg and Belgium, and we're going to record in Luxembourg, and I've got some new tunes and some old tunes and some favorites, so it should be good.
Nice. That's excellent, man. That's excellent. So tell me a little bit about how you got into music to begin with. Was someone in your family a musician, or did you just pick it up independently, or...
No, not really. I kind of just stumbled on it all on my own, more or less. My sister took piano lessons, Suzuki method classical, and that didn't look like it was for me. I kind of regret not taking piano lessons now, but
right.
It's all right. But I don't know. I heard "The Wind Cries Mary," Jimi Hendrix at a school dance in middle school, and was just transfixed by that. So that started a period of like heavy collecting of anything that I could find that had Jimi Hendrix on it. And this is, the days before anything was available online.
Right.
There was no internet. Music back then. So it was just, scouring record stores and CD stores. And remember those?
Oh yeah.
Whatever I could find. And then I started playing harmonica like my junior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
I found and I had gotten one for Christmas as kind of a lark and kind of took to it. And then I bought the first album that I saw at the CD store with a harmonica on the cover, and that was Buddy Guy and Junior Wells' Alone in Acoustic.
Oh, that's cool. That's one of my favorite albums as well.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So I just kind of studied that, and then it all just kind of grew from there, and I got more serious about the guitar, and that was the start of it, though.
Harmonica. So you started on the harmonica. Very cool.
And my first blues concert, I got free tickets from Dan Clefstead at WNIJ for John Hammond. That was my first concert ever when I was a kid. My mom dropped me off and everything, and it was really incredible. He was amazing. So I think that was probably my first inspiration for the one-man band.
Yeah. Cool. So did you have friends that played as well and stuff, or did you mostly just work on your own in terms of when you were getting into the music? And
I hung out with like the jazz band at school. A bunch of my friends were in jazz band. A good friend, Josh Carlzon, was a guitar player, and then I had other friends in there, and we actually had a little band. My buddy Andy Scarpacey, who now plays with Miles Nielsen sometimes, and
nice.
Yeah, it was just kind of high school stuff. We played the basement of a pizza place.
And
I played lowrider, on the harmonica, and it was just fun high school stuff. And then when I went to college, I got a little more serious about it. I actually became a DJ at the college radio station.
Oh, nice!
And so that I got exposed to all kinds of music because they had a pretty good blues library back then, and it was kind of I guess that would have been the mid-'90s, like blues revival heyday, when you had Black Top Records was very active, and there was a lot of great stuff on Alligator. So yeah, it was a cool, and Flying Fish and Rounder and all these cool, and all these great harmonica players like Gary Primich, William Clark, and all these guys were active. So it was a cool time to be exposed to that music.
And yeah, it seems like a lot of the blues labels were kind of hip to the college market too. Like they realized they could kind of break in. It seems like to that, so they're sending all their
the
records.
Kids would play the records if they called up and said hello. Absolutely, and. And I actually got to meet B.B. King through all that. Like, he was coming I went to school in Vermont, and I saw he was coming to Burlington. So I reached out to the promo team, and they said they gave me some stuff to give away as a contest on the air. And then at the show, I got to go and get BB's autograph. It was great.
Yeah, nice. Now, are you originally from, where are you originally from?
I was born in Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin, but my parents moved to Rockford, Illinois when I was, still an infant or whatever. So I'm from Rockford.
Yeah. But now you're here in Chicago.
In Chicago proper, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to have you here, for sure, for sure.
That's right. We're neighbors, actually, ladies and gentlemen.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. Awesome. So, so I think you and I like a lot of the same kind of music. We're both into a lot of that old time blues and like finger picking. So, but I know you're pretty versatile though. You play acoustic stuff, you do electric stuff as well. Do you finger pick most of the time, or do you switch between finger picking and flat picking, or what's your approach?
Well, when I play with the band, it's usually just straight like flat picking. Yeah. I might put the pick or slip the pick in the pick guard if we're doing like a boogie or like more of a Sun Records kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then solo, I play a lot of finger picking. I mean, if I decide to do some Jimmy Reed or some different kind of classic Chicago blues, I might switch to a flat pick. These days, I've actually been playing a lot of my gigs just bare fingers, no picks at all, because if it's just me, I can control how loud I am.
Right.
So I just, if I just turn up the amp and then I can play a little softer. I do like playing with finger picks, for certain things just to keep it brighter.
Right.
I don't know, for whatever reason I'm going through a little phase where I just like to tear at the strings with my bare fingers.
It's a nice tune, but you're finger picking, but without picks.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I always thought the sound of picks a lot of times on an electric guitar sounds kind of harsh.
Yeah.
The tone is not
for sure
great, but I love the sound of them on an acoustic or a resonator. I know you're a fan of the Reso Power Resonator guitars.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I like all my finger, actually, I'm pretty lucky. Like, I rarely lose finger picks.
Yeah.
I've been using the same finger picks probably for over a decade now. Like
the same set?
Same set. And they're bronze Dunlops. I really like or bronze or brass. I don't know. They're not steel.
Right.
They're not the silver ones. They're and they have a little bit warmer sound. I think a softer attack.
Yeah.
And then I use some orange thumb picks. I don't even remember the brand of those now. But I don't lose them. Yeah. Of course, now tomorrow at the next gig I'll lose them all. But
how thick do you know what gauge you use?
I want to say they're like medium. Like, what is it, like 22?
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not too heavy though. Not too heavy.
Yeah, they come in the picks come in different gauges. I like the .018. I think that's pretty
light,
fairly
right?
thin, Yeah. But it does make a difference, how those.
I know there's so many variables, and I didn't really appreciate like how of course I understand that the thickness of the material you're picking with the strings with matters. I mean, that even with a flat pick.
Yeah.
But then we go to the material too, and it's never ending. And I didn't, for years, I didn't really understand that all applies to things like drums too.
Yeah.
Like it's wild, everything that goes into like making a drum making sound, like the angle of the bearing edge and it's just it's bizarre. It's just anymore when I acquire a new guitar, I used to do all this custom stuff to everything. Like, I want the bridge replaced and I want this. Now I'm just like, I just want it the way Leo designed it or whoever. Like, I just make it because most of the time those guys, they've already put all the thought into it.
Right.
I don't.
Right. I mean, I have my own, my theory of kind of, guitars and gear is I don't like to have anything that's too, weird or like irreplaceable.
That's really smart.
Like, I don't want to use some finger picks to say that they don't make anymore, or a 1912 guitar that like I fall in love with. I want to be able to pick up a phone and order a new guitar. If it, God forbid, gets crushed or stolen or whatever. And so I like stuff that's easily replaced.
Well, available. And one of the biggest proponents of that is Billy Flynn, of course,
right?
Who's famous, for using Jay Tercer guitars and PV amplifiers, and he, I don't know. We talked about it once, and he says, "Well, he says, vintage guitars and amps are great." He says, "But you can also get vintage sounds out of modern gear."
Yeah.
So there's that, and I think that's totally right. It's you don't want to get used to something that if you didn't have it anymore, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't feel comfortable.
Right. Wouldn't be able to function or something. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm not too much into gear, mostly I try to just get stuff that works and stick with that.
All that said, it's pretty inspiring when you have like something that's perfect for you at that moment.
Right. It's nice. Yeah, I won't say that I don't like to have, I do like to have nice guitars. I don't, play a $50 guitar or something like that. But yeah, it is, like you said, it is nice to have a piece of gear that's like, adjusted right, feels good, is playable, and that you can do whatever you want to do on it, But so I know, I'm a big fan, and I have a feeling that you're a big fan too of just the solo format, And a long time ago, I was, in a band, and things were not going very well because the guys in the band they had a different idea than what I had in terms of being dedicated to it. And it just it got really frustrating at the point because I couldn't move forward musically because I was in this this relationship with these guys, this band, and so that was kind of at the point where I had previously played classical guitar, so I was familiar, somewhat comfortable with being solo, a solo performer.
Right.
But that's kind of where I rediscovered that acoustic blues stuff. And I was like, this is great because you can play, the old acoustic blues solo.
Right.
You can add other people to it. You could have a band if you want to, but you're kind of a self-contained, stealthy, unit when you're able to play solo. So how's that? How many, what percentage of gigs do you do now that are solo versus with other people?
These days I'd say probably 85% solo.
85. Wow.
I still do a couple band gigs a month, and they're a lot of fun, and the Dig 3 and whatever combination we're at, we usually do, at least a couple weekends a year. And that's cool. But yeah, I'm mainly solo these days, and I'm at peace with it. Like it's great. Yeah. I've gotten used to it. It's a lot easier to manage, personnel wise.
Right.
It's true. And I think that playing solo is also one of those things. The more you do it, as with anything, the better you get at it, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I'm so comfortable playing solo, and I enjoy it. The more I do it, So it's There's not the only thing that I run into sometimes is that it does kind of limit your ability to play maybe some bigger festivals and in front of more people sometimes, unless you're, a folk superstar or the next whatever or this or that.
Right.
But overall it's pretty great.
Yeah, it is. I think, and I think that's mostly the limited imagination of the promoters, because you look at Ed Sheeran, he was out there playing stadiums with one guy with a guitar. So
do you ever do the loop and stuff?
I've experimented with it some, but I've never taken it out in public. It's definitely one of those things you've got to rehearse, and you have to really. Speaking of irreplaceable stuff, if you don't have your normal looper, these, the guys that I know that do it, they rely on a specific piece of gear and how it works, and you really have to know how the gear works and have your timing down and all that kind of stuff. I never wanted to spend that much time getting into it myself. Right. I do have another thing too, where I'm I get more stressed. The more stuff I have to plug in and connect, the more cables. I don't even like to use an effects pedal, just because, it's you're kind of polluting the signal, is getting noisier, and then you got to make sure you got the power for it. So that kind of thing of everything in the chain is another point of failure, I think. And so I tend to be very not like to have too much, gear connected. Yeah.
I go through phases with that too. Like sometimes I really want to use a bunch of stuff, and then right. and then I get back to just cable into the amp, and then we're done. Right. or even just DI. Whatever's easy, whatever gets me. I will say, I don't know the ratio between the number of gigs I have in a given weekend. It decreases the amount of gear that I want to deal with.
Right.
Like if I just have that one gig, I'm like, I want to bring 2 guitars, and I want to use all my little boxes, and and it's
right.
But if I'm doing 2 a day or something, I'm like, no, I'm using 1 guitar for all of it. I got fresh strings. I put them on last month. They're going to be fine.
And if you got to haul a PA or something, that's another thing that you got to kind of deal with, but that's cool. Yeah, you're doing a ton of solo is nice too, because you got that freedom where you can I almost rarely ever have a set list or anything. If I'm doing solo, you can just pull it out of your mind. And that was something, when I started playing with Joe Felisko, he was kind of he had to kind of, poke me a bit and be like, man, can you make a set list? Because all of a sudden it slowed the show down, because I'm thinking of what to play. I'm in my solo mode, because that's what I did for years and years before, I got together with Joe, but that's cool. And so out of the solo format, you've kind of developed this one-man band thing. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the one-man band, that all started when I first moved to Indiana. This was 18 years ago now, and I was touring with Nick Moss and the Flip Tops at the time, and I didn't really know anybody locally, so I managed to book a little gig where I could play by myself, but I'd been playing with a band so much that I missed that. And a buddy of mine, John Alex Mason, had started playing as a one-man band. And so that kind of inspired me to, I was like, I can tap my foot and kick a kick drum too, And,
right.
And then I added a hi-hat to that, and then I started getting a little more crazy, and I added a snare drum, a standard snare drum on a standard stand, just tipped over. And then I rigged up another hi-hat on the bass drum so I could have quarter notes on the hi-hat, if I was doing quarter notes on the bass drum. And that got to be just a lot of stuff to bring to every gig in the setup. And for a little while there, I had a Tuesday residency at this little bar, and I would bring actually a combo organ and set it up over everything so I could play the 2 songs that I know on the organ at the end of every set, just as a break thing,
Yeah.
But again, that was another one of those things where it's the amount of gigs is like inversely proportional to the amount of gear.
Right.
So anyway, that was how it all developed. And then I bought a Farmer foot drum.
Yeah.
And I think John Alex was the first one to point that out to me, although he never bought one. Yeah. And that made life really easy. And
nice.
For people who don't know, the Farmer foot drum it's a self-contained foot-operated percussion unit, and it contains a bass drum, a snare, and a hi-hat, all operated with your feet, levers that you kick with your feet, both heel and toe. That's what
interesting.
That's what made it different from my first setup. Everything was more like conventional drum, everything was toe, toe, toe.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Farmer foot drum, you use your heels as well.
Interesting. And it's all contained in one unit.
It's all
so
contained
that's kind of
in one
nice.
unit.
Yeah.
So it's portable, and it sounds good.
Cool.
Most importantly. So as in its full form, the one-man band, the full electric one-man band, at its zenith or the acme or whatever, I don't know, the top. I'll use 2 amplifiers, one for guitar, one for harmonica, and I use the Blows Me Away racket unit for the harmonica, amplified harmonica, a foot drum, and guitar, and then I'll usually, at most places, I can get away with just miking the kick drum and then running the vocals and the kick through a PA speaker.
Cool.
So that's the biggest. That's the most noise I can make.
Yeah.
And then, but I like to scale it to whatever venue or gig that I'm playing.
Right.
So I can go. So from there, I can go like a little less than that, and it'll be more like I won't do amplified harmonica. I'll just do acoustic harp, but have a guitar amp and then the drums, and then I can add the PA speaker, or I'll sing through my guitar amp. Like that can really work well.
Right.
For certain venues. And I can go further down, and then it's more of like an acoustic thing. I have 2 different foot drums, and then one of them is set up with brushes.
Oh,
so that could be more of like a chill, like acoustic thing, like all the Lightning Hopkins albums, you know, with brushes and And I have an old Gibson flat top with a Diarman pickup in it that's just perfect for that. And,
nice.
And then I can even go further down and then play like resonator guitar, and then I have actually Rodrigo Mantovani and I have a cool little duo where he plays washtub bass. And I play resonator guitar with hi-hat and like shaker to approximate the washboard sound.
Yeah.
With my left foot or right foot. And so that's that, you know, I can take it all the way down like totally acoustic like that, or all the way back up there depending on the needs of the venue or the gig itself. So that's a lot of fun. And I also have a backpack drum that I can walk around with. It's got a kick drum and a hi-hat, and they attach to the heels. Also made by Farmer Foot Drums.
Yeah, that's some cool stuff that guy makes, Pete Farmer. It's interesting. So now do you sometimes just do solo gigs where you don't bring any of that stuff at all, too?
That's an excellent point. Yes, I do. Actually, most of the time when I'm playing solo sets at Kingston Mines, I bring I have a lowboy hi-hat by DW drums, and then just a porchboard bass, the stomp box, the porchboard mini they call it, and that's the kick drum. So, and I've also done gigs where I just have the porchboard, so it's just a tapping foot, guitar, and harmonica.
Right. So basically, you fired the drummer.
Pretty much. Fired the drummer. The bass player sometimes.
Was there a
bass
drummer?
Player's freelance.
Was there a drummer that caused particular angst to
cause this? No, not at all. Okay. It's just you know, a lot of I love Joe Hill Lewis, John Hammond, of course. He, you know, I've never heard anybody stomp their foot on stage that hard. Like John, they must mic the stage for him or something, because he just beats the heck out of the stage.
That guy was a powerhouse. Yeah, is a powerhouse performer. Yeah, John Hammond Jr.
Sure. Yep.
I met him once at when he was playing at Buddy Guy's club,
nice.
And he was doing kind of, I think it was him and Duke Rabillard.
Yeah,
and you know, and he's like, hey, if you want, he's like, you can play through my setup. So, you know, he had and he just plays through like a 57 and a 58.
Yeah.
And I was trying to play through that stuff, man. I thought, well, I'm going to do it just to see what it's like to play through John Hammond's. It was very difficult. I'll just say that. I was sweating bullets. He was sitting in the front row too with his wife. So that made me really nervous. You know, I was like, John's watching me.
Yeah.
Play,
I've tried to do like just the mic thing live, and it's just,
yeah,
I want it to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that if, you know, I were more famous or something like that, and the venue was different, you can get away with that. But like when you're like just going around playing the clubs and doing the thing, it's so much easier just to plug in. And the sound guys like it better too.
I mean, most electric clubs, it's like the sound engineers aren't always like trained, and they don't always have the gear to and you don't have the setting because it might be noisier.
I was going to say the ambiance makes a big difference.
So it's really difficult to play. Yeah, through microphones.
I tried. Early on, like when I was first starting out, like doing the solo stuff, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. I tried to do it. I have the ear trumpet microphone. I actually tried just an EV 635 sometimes, just singing and playing, you know, like bluegrass, and it never was right. So I just caved.
Yeah, I use I like the Bags DI. I've got one of those venue DIs, and that's kind of my go-to thing. But the other thing I found about that is if you play into microphones, like a bluegrass style or whatever, you know, it kind of straitjackets you because you can't move. You know, if you move 2 inches in one direction, your sound is going to change, especially, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And it's tougher on you physically too, because like if you feel like you want to get louder, you have to play louder, and that's not always very easy.
Right.
Yeah, that's rough.
But yeah, it's something. Yeah, doing acoustic music in electric venues can be a challenge. But let's talk a little bit about. So yeah, we talked about the solo thing, but you got a band, the Dig 3,
That's
which
right.
features a good mutual friend of ours, Ronnie Shellist, on the harmonica, and you got Andrew Duncanson on guitar and vocals as well. Great songwriter. So that's you're the drummer in that band. You basically kind of have combined the one-man band with these guys to make the Dig 3. Tell me a little bit about the band and how it kind of came about.
Yeah, so that was an outgrowth of the 2020 lockdown. You know, Ronnie at the time was living in Champaign near Andrew, Champaign, Illinois. And we just decided one day, I think it was August of 2020, that we were going to set up in Ronnie's backyard. And Ronnie had built this, platform for his harmonica stuff where it was just easy for him to stream on Facebook and YouTube and wherever he wanted to. So we said, well, a lot of people were doing it. So we said, well, let's do our own little thing and just because it's fun to play together. So we did. We set up in the backyard and played, and Andrew tried out a couple of tunes that he'd written, and it was fun. We had a ball, and I'd done a couple of gigs previously over the last few years preceding that where I experimented with adding stuff to the one-man band. Mainly a harmonica player because I can't play harmonica while I sing.
Right.
So, I kind of missed because in the Muddy Waters tunes and all that kind of stuff, you always have little Walter or the Walters or whoever's playing harmonica. There's always that weaving in and out of the lyrics, and I can't do that. It's limited, but so I used the old Smoke Daddy Barbecue as a venue for that, and I did a gig with Jim Liben where he played harmonic with me with Joe Falisco on one of them, and that was a lot of fun. I did another one with Bill Lupkin too, which was really great in Indiana. So it was something that I kind of been thinking about, because I thought of all my. And I have to say that one of the most influential albums for me in determining how I wanted to sound as an electric one-man band was Maxwell Street Alley Blues, Big John Rencher. and I had to believe that at some point, on Maxwell Street when these guys were playing, there was more than one harmonica player playing. So I had this sound in my mind of these guys honking on the harps together.
Nice.
And so that was part of the reason Ronnie and I have recorded a couple instrumentals now where we're both playing, and a couple of, standard tunes with vocals where we're both playing harmonica. He's able to play harmony lines to what, I'm playing the bass notes or whatever.
Nice.
So I really, that was kind of the outgrowth of that. And then just having Andrew along with his fantastic voice and wonderful songs, it all kind of just came together, and we decided to go into the studio on a lark later that fall of 2020, and then we recorded those 11 songs that are on the first album. I think it's 11, and then a couple more bonus tracks with Rodrigo Montevani on the bass here in Chicago.
Nice.
And then we just did a GoFundMe as a pre-order. So a lot of our friends and fans and family and stuff, they contributed, and we were able to do the first album just like that.
That's cool. And where did you record that at?
That was so the bulk of the album was recorded in Tolono, Illinois, which is south of Champaign. It's an engineer, James Treakler, and at Earth Analog Studios. And just nice big live room.
Yeah. Good
engineer, good mics, and good songs. What more do you need, right? How
long did it take you guys to crank it out?
One day.
One day. I love that.
No overdubs, no. I think the majority of them were second takes because a bunch of the tunes we hadn't played before.
Yeah.
So it took us a little bit to kind of work them out, but we did them all in one day. And then the two bonus tracks were recorded here, and they were just extra tunes that Andrew had that we decided we wanted to put on the album. And then, but again, no overdubs, completely live.
Nice.
The process for the second album was a little different because we knew we were going to make an album. So Andrew and I actually met for some rehearsals / pre-production meetings.
Right.
That's and we worked out some tunes, and then we actually we booked a weekend where we played the songs live, and then we went in at the beginning of the following week and recorded them. So
that's a good thing to do. Yeah, that's one of the hard things about, especially if you're writing tunes that you're going to record, and you just go and record them. It's like you're kind of it's like they're not worn in yet or something like that, And Joe Felisko and I did that a few years back. We had an album, and we got in touch with a bunch of people we knew, and we were like, hey, do you want to host a house concert?
Yeah,
and we did like half a dozen house concerts, and we recorded them too, so we could hear were the tunes in the right key and stuff, was it, projecting properly and stuff. But that's a hard thing to do if you make a new tune and then just try to record it right off the bat.
100%. And then, and then it happens a lot of the time where you do some tunes in the studio and then you never do them again.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That isn't the case with the Dig 3 for the most part. Although there's a couple that we don't really do as often as maybe I'd like, or we'd like to. But, it's, so when Ronnie's moved back out to Colorado, so Andrew and I are playing gigs around with Lee kind of here on the piano. We have a couple releases with her, and so like a tune like we have there's two instrumentals, Reposado Rock and Blanco Boogaloo, and especially Blanco Boogaloo I play bass on, and then Ronnie blows this amazing. It's basically our tribute to Little Sonny.
Nice.
And there's no way, we're not even gonna go there. I can't even pretend to play what Ronnie plays on that, and then it's just we're not gonna attempt that unless Ronnie's aboard. So
but so you guys got the self-titled album, and then
that's right.
Damn the Rent, right? Is that the second one?
Right here.
Nice.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Cool.
Right there.
And then you got a couple. The EPs with Lee on the piano, or are those just digital only?
Yeah,
releases?
Those are digital only. I mean, we, maybe we'll do something, maybe. I really want to make like a 10-inch vinyl LP, I don't know why that is. They're just so cute. They're like, so for everybody, so like this is a 12-inch, so like a 10-inch would be like this big instead. And, what are they? Those are like 12 minutes aside, so maybe like 2 or 3 songs tops. And I don't know, they're just so cool. I'd like to do that sometime.
And so, people can find out more about you guys at thedig3band.com, right?
Yeah, thedig3band.com. That's the URL that was available. And it kind of reflects how the band kind of works, because Andrew and I will do gigs as a duo, the Dig 3 duo. And then we've also done gigs as in our Dig 3 Big formation, which basically gets me off the drum set. We get a fine drummer, either Joel Baer or Rick King on the drums.
Nice.
Aaron Whittier or Rodrigo Montavani on the bass, and then it's more of like a blues band kind of thing. And we still do all the Dig 3 songs. The guys have learned the tunes, and we can give them an authentic Dig 3 experience. And I think the biggest show we did was a CD or album release party for Damn the Rent at Legends, where we had pretty much everybody that's played on the records there play with us, and it was a lot of fun. We had Lauren Dukes from Indiana sang background vocals on a disco version of a song on the first album, and she was there too, and it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
It's cool to have those different formats, especially when you're booking gigs, and if they maybe they've got a bigger budget, they can afford to get the extra, the big version of it, or maybe they just need something more stripped down, too. So it's cool that you got those different formats.
It's nice for me too. Although I'm so used to when we play that material, the Dig 3 material, obviously I'm very familiar with it from the standpoint of being the drummer and the bass player and the guitar player and sometimes harmonica player and sometimes mandolin player, that when we switch to the big format, all I'm usually playing is electric guitar. So now I kind of have to it's fresh then for me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, where do I fit in the mix here? I've gone from being like the core to the cherry on top, and it's like, okay, well, how can I make this better now? And we got the drums handled, we got the bass handled. Andrew is doing his things. If we've got Ronnie on it, then it's like, okay, well, then then I need to figure out my place in it, which is fun. Like I love it. It's a new way to be.
Right. I mean, it's one of my theories is, the more musicians you have on stage, the less you play. Generally.
Absolutely.
You got like a 20-piece funk band, you might just be like, tick it. You just do one little note every measure. Yeah, that's it. Just do one little note every so often and be in the right spot. But yeah, it is fun to kind of experience those different angles, different roles, I guess, really.
Yeah, for sure. It's a different and I'm lucky enough that I get to play different roles when I play with various bands too. Like this weekend, actually, I'm going to be playing with Joel Patterson and Little Frank Krakowski out in South Bend, and there I'm going to mainly playing bass, and that's a completely different mindset than the rest of it. Right. And harmonica, then guitar, because I don't stop playing. Like I'm playing the whole time, and I'm not going to be playing any drums. Smokey Campbell's on the drums, and that's a whole different thing too. So I have to okay, I'm only doing one thing, so like I need to be a little, I don't know. It's when I'm doing the one man band stuff, it's very zen like. I'm not. It's everything's floating around and everything's cool, and it's like. But when I'm only playing guitar, only playing bass, it's a completely different. Like I need to be a little bit more focused and a little more mindful. I find. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
That's cool though. But I guess you do more of the gigs where you're doing the one man band or all the stuff. So that's more your default, I guess. Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
And also I need to also like remind myself to not like listen to the drummer, but not to like enjoy it. Like I'm not there as a fan. No. I'm there as like part of the rhythm section. Like I still have to do a job. I have to listen for dynamics. I have to listen to changes and everything. I have to know the tune. I have to know the line. Whereas like, it's like, I obviously when I'm playing drums, I know what's coming most of the time unless I make a mistake. But in this case, it's like I have to be very disciplined about like not just sitting back and being like, man, you sound great. No. We have to play together.
Yeah.
It's
Cool. So in terms of guitars, I know you mentioned we were talking a little bit about the Resonator guitars, and you mentioned you had a Gibson wood body, but like, what are your favorite guitars at the moment? I'll just say at the moment.
Well, let's
I know it changes over time.
It does. Well, so this guitar in the background here that's kind of fuzzy back there on the video is it's my only Resonator at the moment. It's a 2001, I think that's right. National Resophonic M1. So it's a mahogany body, and that was actually custom made for John Alex Mason. And when he passed, his wife gave that guitar to me.
Wow!
So nice. That guitar is very special to me. That one will always be in the family, in my possession until it's not.
Right.
Until I can't possess it anymore. But that's a very special guitar. And it actually, when I received it, it took me about, I don't know, over a year to take the John Alex's strings off.
Yeah.
I still got them in the case. But I had Chad Fitzpatrick go over it, and it's a humdinger, man. It's nice and mellow, still with plenty of volume.
Right.
And originally, John Alex had a Highlander pickup in the cone.
I'm familiar with those.
I didn't care.
I had one of those too, and I did not like it. I hated it because it kind of fed back and stuff. It wasn't bright. Once again, we were talking about the venues you're playing in. You couldn't crank it up. I like whatever I got to be able to crank it up, which is why I like those. Like you got a magnetic pickup on there.
Yeah, that's the Slimline, the National Slimline, which it's humbucking, which is great too. And that's the best for me. So I had Chad take the Highlander out, and so that's all that's on there now.
So the National M1 is that one. What's your go-to in terms of electric guitars?
Well, for band gigs, I've really become enamored with Fender Mustangs. I was getting my oil changed once upon a time in Northwest Indiana, and they'd give you a free cab ride wherever you wanted to go, and I chose to go to Billy O's Dynamite Music in Griffith. And I was just, killing time.
Sounds like it could be an expensive oil change.
Yeah, and I saw that bad boy up there on the wall, and I said, well, that's kind of cool. It's a 76 Fender Mustang, and I got it down and started playing it, and I kept playing it, and I kept playing it, and I kept playing it, and then I got the text message from the dealership saying the oil change was done, and I said, okay, and then I kept playing it, and I kept playing it, and I kept playing. So I came back the next day, and Billy and I worked out a deal, and I took the guitar home, and it's been so great. It's a smaller body and a smaller neck. It's actually a little bit smaller than a Gibson scale. It's a 24-inch scale, and it's got a vibrato on it, which is good and real good. And then the cool thing about it is they came from the factory with an out of phase sound. Like you can get an out of phase sound on it, so a little more quacky or whatever. But it's a strong out of phase sound. It's not like a real weak sounding one that sometimes happens. So I love that guitar. I feel like because of the smaller scale, I can move faster. It's easier for me to make chords, and and the string tension is really nice too. Like it's a little lighter.
Some people are, some guitar players don't realize that, but I do think, the scale length of the guitar, how far you got between the bridge and the nut, basically, really does make a difference. And, I got my favorite acoustic is a Gibson Advanced Jumbo, which is like a Gibson, but it's more of the scale of like a Stratocaster. It's longer.
Oh, it's bigger.
It's a long, and I find it like on that guitar, I really like it. Like it stays in tune. It seems like it stays in tune better.
That makes sense.
And for finger picking, there's something about, maybe the strings feel a little bit tighter or something because they're stretched across a longer, scale length. But it is interesting how that makes a difference. So the Fender Mustangs, favorite electric guitar.
I've got two of them now, and they're very different guitars. It's one of them is a 74, and the other one's a 76, and there's a huge difference between them, which is kind of I guess reflective of the changes in Fender at the time. But there's that, and then I've got my longest. Actually, the guitar I've probably had the longest now is a 1965 Gibson ES 125.
Okay,
with a cutaway and two pickups.
Is that a full hollow body?
Full hollow.
Okay,
thing. Right. I've been using that one a bunch, and then I did some trading with Billy O again, I guess 2 years ago now, and I was able to acquire a 1952 Gibson ES 350. Big body guitar, two P90s, nice, big, comfy neck, and that guitar is a lot of fun too for solo gigs.
Yeah,
I like
nice.
that one. Yeah,
nice.
I haven't used it too much with a band, but I've got I've got a bunch of other guitars too that sometimes I don't play with bands enough anymore to rotate guitars in and out as much as I used to. But every now and again, I'll get the hankering. I'll pull one of the old guys out and take them to a solo gig because that's not as mission critical,
right?
Right. Like I have my mission critical guitars, and then I have the ones that are kind of fun and
You do your own adjustments or anything on them, or do you?
I'm no good at any of that.
Me neither.
I used to take everything to Chad Fitzpatrick, which was kind of a drive. He's about 2 hours from here. Yeah. But we just do batches. Like I'd bring a bunch of guitars and I'd hang out all day and do stuff. But he's been pretty busy. He's now working. He's like head of the repair department at Sweetwater.
Oh, wow.
So he's too busy for me. So I just kind of let it ride.
Yeah.
I had to make an adjustment to the Mustang when I was over in Europe, and it seems like it worked out. I just had to raise the bridge a little bit, and I don't know. Everything seems fine.
I'm no good at that stuff myself. Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to see the 1,000th of an inch and stuff.
There's that, and then you have to understand that this affects that, and if you change something here, it changes something there, and it's like. I don't know. Repairing harmonicas is way easier than setting up a guitar. I can tell you that from experience. Right.
And so, you play harmonica quite a bit as well, especially in the rack. So what harmonicas do you like to play?
It's funny. For years, I was a diehard Marine Band guy. And, I had a guy teach me how to customize them and seal the combs and drill for screws and all this kind of stuff and condition the reeds. And now I find that I'm playing solo so much in Iraq that the Special 20 is my go-to because of its mellower sound. It sounds better like played through a vocal mic, in my opinion.
Right.
I do like the readiness of the Marine band, but like just for overall like smoothness and like how it translates into a vocal mic you're also singing into, I think the Special 20 is like the way to go.
Right.
And Nick Clark and I have actually talked about this too. He's a big Special 20 guy now too.
Yeah. I've heard other people say the same thing. It's got a slightly mellower tone and stuff. I think James Conway, the Irish harmonica player, uses those as well. The same things. He does a lot of rack, rack playing. Cool, man. So people can find out, if they want to find out where you're playing or what you're up to, they can go to gerryhunt.com, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I have a Google schedule up, embedded on there. And that's updated in real time. It's like as soon as I get a gig, it's on there because that's the one that I use on my phone to keep my schedule too.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll be.
That's
and then
good,
I do try and like post everything to Instagram, which pushes to Facebook.
Right.
So, follow me there. It's just my name as well.
Yeah. And you got some pretty cool stuff, too. I was checking out you got a YouTube channel as well where you got some videos up there. And stuff.
I do. I don't spend a whole lot of time on YouTube. I probably should upload some more stuff on there. And I'm also on the TikTok now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm on the TikTok. Cool. And, I don't do too much there either, but... I got some stuff on there, just mainly just cool videos from performances, a couple of other things.
Nice.
But I do enjoy doing that stuff, but I don't know. It's not. I don't know. I'm old enough that it's not. It's something that I have to remind myself to do.
Right.
Let's just say.
Well, you can end up spending all your time doing that and no time whatsoever playing or
learning tunes
music.
Or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I saw some video from some, I don't know, maybe it was a TikTok from some gal giving advice to musicians, and she said, it becomes easier once you change your mindset about it. And she said, if you think of it more as documenting what you're already doing, rather than creating something for that platform, things become easier.
Yeah.
And also like your standards don't need to be so high, for content, right? Like people get a kick out of like just seeing you in your car, be like, well, I'm on the way to this gig, come see me, instead of like a properly produced music video. Like you don't need to do that anymore. I guess
it's true. Yeah, you can just kind of pop. And plus, it's kind of like you're throwing it into a stream, and it just flows down that stream, and people just see it for a second or whatever, But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen too. You did maybe some of it was a while ago, but you were doing some stuff where you would live stream some of your like solo gigs. And
I think I was like one of the first dudes to do that. Honestly, I love that. So I was streaming gigs from Smoke Daddy, just because, and then I was talking with Ronnie the other day. So our friend Ronnie Shellist, harmonica123.com is the plug there. He was really savvy about monetizing his social media presence.
Yes.
And we were talking about it, and he was like, well, why don't you just post a PayPal.me link on your live feed so people can tip you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I could. I put that together, and I started doing that. I don't even know when, like maybe 2016, 2017, something like that. And then, of course, with the lockdown and all that kind of stuff, now it's common practice.
It's a cool idea though, because it's kind of like a little extra stream of income, plus maybe people who don't get to see you play very often or whatever, get to check out the
and I've certainly had people say, oh yeah, I watch your streams on Facebook, whenever you're on there, and it's so cool that you do that, and thank you, because not everybody can get out all the time or do stuff, and that's nice. And then to the very extreme, I think it was May or April of 2020, I did a stream on a Sunday morning where I played all gospel music.
Nice.
And people still tell me like, "Oh, that was so good. We love that." It was so great, and it was very inspiring, and it's what we all needed. And I was like, "Oh, well, that's really cool." Like so you never know. I mean, I have a really good friend who tells me sometimes, you don't understand how you guys affect normal people. You guys are in your own little world, making music, booking gigs, making records, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So sometimes I think you guys forget like how much it means to all of us.
Right.
So that I try to take that into consideration sometimes too.
Yeah, there's a certain magic to music that maybe we get immune to or something over time.
I think so. And, we've all had the gigs where we thought that we didn't play very well. And then somebody says, this is so great. I really loved it. Thank you so much.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. But, so I also wanted to talk about your wife Lola came out with a book of blues photography.
She did. I happen to have a copy right here.
How convenient.
Right there. Yeah, it's called It Is What It Is, and it features
Is What It Is. Nice.
A bunch of photos that she exhibited this summer in Belgium. A lot from her travels down south.
Nice.
And then, there's some familiar faces in here. Here's the great Milwaukee Slim.
Cool.
There's a great... I'm pretty good at this. Here's the great Charlie Musselwhite.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's a really great book. It's entirely self-produced for the most part. She did get some grants from the city of Liège in Belgium.
Nice.
And then from one other organization, too. But yeah, I'm very proud of it. I helped her a little out with some of the editing of the text. There's some direct quotes in here, and then some. There's at least one poem that she wrote.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's another piece of art that's available in my orbit.
Yeah.
I usually bring a copy or two to wherever I'm at for gigs or whatever. So
yeah.
And then she has a website, LolaReinerts.com.
Cool.
Where you can check out the photography. And we don't really have something set up where you can order the book, but if you send us an email, we'll figure it out.
That'll work.
That's right.
Old school.
We'll figure it out. That's right. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Excellent, man. Well, man, thanks so much for doing this, for stopping by. I appreciate it. It's good to have this conversation.
Yeah, a little chat. We covered a lot of ground.
We did. Yeah. And once again, if you want to find out more about Gerry, you can go to gerryhunt.com. You can go to the dig3band.com.
Got it.
As well. And and you're also, like you mentioned, on other platforms, Facebook and
Instagram,
YouTube.
all of it.
Yep.
The TikTok.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, buddy.